Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Derek A. Smith, your guide to mastering the essential concepts in cybersecurity. Today, we're diving into one of the most fundamental yet often misunderstood aspects of security: authentication and authorization. These two concepts are the backbone of any secure system. They define how we verify identity and control access to sensitive resources. Whether you're preparing for the CompTIA Security Plus exam, starting a career in cybersecurity, or simply aiming to secure your digital life, understanding these concepts is a must. In today's video, we'll define authentication and authorization and explain the difference between them, explore the tools and technologies used to implement them, discuss real-world scenarios where these concepts are applied, and share best practices to strengthen security systems. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid grasp of how authentication and authorization work together to protect digital systems. Let's dive right in. Section 1. What is authentication? Let's begin by breaking down authentication, a process we encounter every day, whether logging into our email, unlocking our phones, or accessing secure apps. Definition of authentication. Authentication is the process of verifying the identity of a user, device, or system. Essentially, it's about answering the question, who are you? Think of authentication as your digital ID card. Without it, you can't access restricted areas in a system or application. 1. Factors of authentication. Authentication relies on three main types of factors, often categorized as something you know, passwords, PINs, or answers to security questions. These are familiar to most of us, but come with risks, such as weak or reused passwords. A password like 123456 or password might be easy to remember, but it's also easy to hack. Always use complex passwords to strengthen this factor. Something you have. Physical or digital items like security tokens, smart cards, or authentication apps. For instance, your phone can serve as a second factor when you receive a one-time code during login. Something you are. Biometric data such as fingerprints, facial recognition, or iris scans. This is one of the most secure methods because it's unique to you. Biometrics are becoming mainstream, with features like Face ID or fingerprint scanners on smartphones. 2. Multi-Factor Authentication, MFA. The strongest security often comes from combining two or more factors. This is called Multi-Factor Authentication, MFA. For example, logging into an online account might require a password, something you know, and a code sent to your phone, something you have. With MFA, even if one factor is compromised, the second layer of protection keeps your account secure. Section 2. What is authorization? Now that we've covered authentication, let's shift gears to authorization. While authentication verifies, who are you? Authorization answers, what are you allowed to do? 1. Definition of authorization. Authorization is the process of granting or denying permissions based on your identity. Once a system knows who you are, it determines what resources or actions you're allowed. Think of it like this. If authentication is your ticket to enter a concert venue, authorization determines whether you're allowed in the VIP section. 2. Real-world examples. In a workplace, for instance, admins can access sensitive data, configure systems, and install software. Employees have access to their work emails and department-specific resources, but can't modify system settings. Guests might only have access to public Wi-Fi or shared meeting spaces. Authorization ensures that users only have access to what they need to perform their tasks, nothing more, nothing less. This principle is often referred to as the principle of least privilege. Section 3. Authentication versus authorization. Now that we've defined these terms, let's clarify the distinction between them. Authentication confirms identity. It's the who are you part. Authorization grants permissions. It's the what can you do part. Think of it like entering a hotel. Your ID confirms who you are, authentication, but your room key determines where you can go, authorization. Section 4. Technologies for Authentication and Authorization. 1. Authentication technologies. Common methods include password authentication, the simplest form but prone to breaches, biometric systems, fingerprints, facial recognition, and retina scans for enhanced security, federated authentication, single sign-on, SSO systems allow you to access multiple services with one set of credentials. For example, logging into Google gives you access to Gmail, Drive, and other services. 2. Authorization technologies. Authorization tools include access control lists, ACLs, defined permissions for specific users or groups, role-based access control, RBAC, assign permissions based on roles like manager or employee, identity and access management, IAM, centralized solutions to manage authentication and authorization together. Section 5. Best practices for authentication and authorization. To secure your systems effectively, follow these best practices. Implement multi-factor authentication, MFA. Always combine at least 2 factors. Enforce strong password policies. Require long, complex passwords and encourage regular updates. Use role-based access control, RBAC. Simplify permission management by assigning access based on roles. Regularly audit access logs. Identify unauthorized access attempts or unusual activity. Adopt a zero-trust model. Continuously verify user identities and device compliance even after initial login. By combining strong authentication and authorization practices, you build a robust defense against cyber threats. To wrap up, authentication ensures the right people access your system. Authorization ensures they access only what they're allowed to. These concepts are foundational to cybersecurity, and understanding them will help you secure your systems and data more effectively. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others in your network. Got questions? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.